Everybody, welcome back to another episode of 13 Rings Podcast. I'm your host, Lucas, with my co-hosts, Mal, Earl, and Maurice. Guys, it's episode 3. We're still not canceled, and we got a lot of fun NFC stuff to talk about today. Right, Maurice?
Absolutely, we sure do. Let's get to it. Start with the first topic. Which player for your respective teams stood out so far in OTAs headed into training camp this week? We can start with Mal and the Giants.
So I would say the biggest standout for me from what I noticed was our safety, Xavier McKinney. This is a big season for him because he's trying to bounce back from that really unfortunate bye week injury when he messed his hand up in an ATV accident. It was great because actually in the beginning of OTAs, our offense was completely dominating. And then the second week of OTAs, our defense started to actually show up. And McKinney was actually a standout. He had an interception, knockdown pass. And it's a big year for him too, because he's looking to earn an extension this next year. So I would say with him being a captain, this is a really big season for him to bounce back. And it's good to see him standing out there in OTA so far.
That's really good. So glad to hear about that. Xavier McKinney, he was really good at Bama. And just seeing him try to get back on his feet and try to ignite himself part of that defense is really exciting to see. And I wish McKinney nothing but the best.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's all right. I was just going to say with Julian Love leaving in free agency, his role is even bigger this year. So for him to come back and really produce is what we're really looking for. Go ahead, Lucas. I'm sorry.
No, I'm just surprised you didn't say something along the lines of, Daniel Jones or, the rookie wide receiver. What's your guys' rookie's name again? I'm sorry. I'm terrible with names.
It's okay. Jalen Hyatt.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you didn't say them. But you know what? I'm okay with going with a defensive guy. Sure, why not? And by the way, Earl, I just saw what you put in our group chat on Twitter. That is hilarious. Did you guys see it? It's a picture of
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers next to the little green dude from what is he from? Is he from the Jetsons or is he from like Flintstones? I don't know.
He's a Martian.
Yeah, but is he from like the Jetsons or Flintstones? I feel like he's from like one of them. I can't remember which one.
It's from one of them old cartoons.
Yeah, it's funny though. It's funny. Sorry, I didn't mean to get off topic there. That's.
I thought it fit well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Earl, go ahead. Tell us who you're expecting to see from what players you're expecting to see from OTAs going into training camp.
Okay. I know in the last episode I talked about him, Eric Scott Jr. He was one player that stood out a lot in OTAs with his size and athleticism, and him actually getting some reps with the first team, which I thought was really impressive, especially with how well Dan Quinn has utilized the defense pieces and just moving them around in different things. And seeing a rookie just come out and just ball out when healthy is really nice to see. And overall, I think with how OTAs went, there was times the defense was just out moving, just taking over what the offense is doing. But I did see some things with the offense with CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. I really love seeing Brandon Cooks wearing the star on his helmet and just getting an opportunity to get some reps with these receivers. But the one player that stood out to me was Eric Scott Jr.
Okay. Solid. Yeah, we kind of know he's one of your favorites. I get that.
Yeah. And just speaking for the Eagles, it's actually two players for me. Nakobe Dean, who's going to be our signal caller on defense. He has a big responsibility. I mean, he hasn't really showed much his rookie year because he was sitting behind TJ Edwards, who's moved on in free agency. I want to see, at least in training camp and the preseason games, how well he moves behind that line. Another player I wanted to mention was Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis didn't play much last year. He had some injuries, and once again, he was playing behind depth. So he really didn't get much time, but when he did play, he did make an impact when it came to run stuffing. Um, if Jordan Davis can stay on the field, whether that be through health and conditioning, if he could be at least a 2 play or 3 play guy who could stay on the field for at least 3 plays, I think N'Kobe Dean can be a real impact linebacker his second year. That's something I was looking at during OTAs, and I'm gonna keep a close eye on that during training camp.
No, that's fair. That's fair, man. I get that.
Yeah, I think N'Kobe Dean, with him having a year just to kind of look and study and analyze, I think he'll be able to get his feet, get his feet out the water and just kind of go in and just kind of do his thing. I really think he's going to be solid as between middle linebacker or weak side linebacker. He could definitely be a Mike, especially with his leadership. And with Jordan, it'd be really cool to see him like play a full season, especially being healthy, because he's got a lot of talent. And no, I hate saying it, but the Eagles got a really good front four on the defensive side as well as some of their linebackers. So it'd be really cool to see how N'Kobe Dean does his second year.
It's going to be really crucial to see the development of Jordan Davis, because if Jordan Davis is who we think he could be as an interior lineman, then he makes the life of everyone easier. N'Kobe Dean, Hassan Reddick, and Nolan Smith, who I'm interested to see as well. So it's going to be very crucial to see what Jordan Davis does.
Yeah, y'all have a lot of young pieces, so it's going to take some time to get them to gel well. And I'm thinking they're going to have to do it this season. And I'm thinking probably within their third year and some in their second and first year, they're going to kind of get it together, but it's got to be like meshed well. So we just
see
happens.
That's a good thing about us right now is, first of all, they're all from the same college. Most of them are, and they have some good veteran leadership there too with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, two vets that's been there for a long time. So we'll see. Lucas, what you got?
So before Armani Rogers tore his Achilles, I was going to say Amari Rogers just because Logan Thomas is not getting any younger. He's 32, and Rogers showed some real flashes last year. And I was really hoping that he could take a step forward and become like the number one tight end. Just because I'm not a big fan of Thomas in general, but with his Achilles injury, I mean the easy answer here is Sam Howell. A lot of people are saying that he has a strong command of the offense and having that confident and leadership intangible that the team has been missing in years past. He's adapted to Eric Bieniemy's new offensive system very well, having a grasp on it. Of course, there's going to be some growing pains, but overall, he's done a great job. He's been impressive with his leadership and command of the huddle. So I'm obviously Sam Howell is the big story coming out of there. Obviously, and Eric Bieniemy, the offensive players love his level of accountability and his intensity. And I remember listening to an interview with Antonio Gibson saying that he felt like he was back in college with all the yelling that Bieniemy does. So that's I love that. That's great.
I was really impressed with Sam Howell week 18 against the Cowboys. I think he did a really, really good job there. I'm more interested to see because you guys as a fan base and as an organization have a lot relying on Sam Howell and think that he can be the one. I'm excited to see if he actually can be. Do you think he can be, Lucas?
I mean, yeah, I think it's totally possible. I'm not gonna get too hyped about it because then if disappointment. But I think there's a strong possibility. He has all the tools to be. Let's just see if he can put it together for our season first before we make that declaration. Because I mean, look, there were times that Taylor Heineke looked great, but he's not a franchise guy. We all know that. So
Absolutely.
So I'm trying to temper expectations, and actually we're gonna talk a little bit about another possibility later on. But I think Sam Howell has a strong possibility of being a franchise guy. I mean, the guy was projected to be a first-round pick before he went back to North Carolina, where he had like no more weapons that he had the year before. So, and he has two really great wideouts. So, yeah, I think it's possible.
Yeah.
All right. So on that note, we are going to switch over to the Commanders because they're pretty an interesting club to follow. And for those that were living under a rock, the reign of Daniel Snyder is over, in the new regime headed by oh gosh, why am I blanking on his name right? Well, Magic Johnson and
Josh Harris.
Josh Harris.
I should know that because I'm a Sixers
Yeah.
fan.
Yeah, you
And
should do that.
I should know that, but I'm like really blanking right now. It's been a weird day for me, guys. I had to do work training today, which I'm supposed to be on vacation, so I'm not thrilled about that. Yeah, Josh Harris and Magic Johnson. So, do we like this new ownership group, guys? That's the first question.
Well, first
I
of all,
love it.
congratulations. Congratulations, Lucas.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
congrats.
Thank you.
Yes, it was long overdue.
Long time coming.
Agreed. It needed to happen a lot sooner. And fun fact, I found out that Cook's son, the one that sold the team to Snyder, didn't want to sell it, but in his father's will, it was expressed that whoever could pay the most, which was Snyder. So, Cook never wanted that to happen.
Wow.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah, also, Harris he grew up supporting the Commanders, so he
Yeah,
only has their best interests at heart.
Yeah, he's a Maryland boy at heart, so that's really cool. I like that.
Well, I'll say this: you have an owner that's been in the business for a while now. I think this is his third or fourth team that he now owns.
I
Sixers.
know Sixers, the Devils.
Yeah.
Does he own a soccer team?
I think he owns a soccer team. Yes.
And he just bought stake in Joe Gibbs' racing team too, I think, as a minority owner.
Okay. So he's familiar with it. I'll say that.
Yeah. And I mean, look, the Sixers have been a constant playoff contender for the past 6 years.
Yeah.
And I don't really follow hockey like that, but New Jersey Devils, I mean, I guess I haven't heard anything bad about them.
Yeah, Devils are on the come up, so they got a young team, and they're definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah, you know what the nice thing is that Harris has been a part of two teams that now, I guess, with the Devils that have gone through rebuilds, and I mean, I know Maurice knows exactly what I'm talking about. Now, I don't think we're gonna have to deal with the process here in DC, but this team is in a rebuild, so it's not like it's unfamiliar territory for him. He's willing to be patient in the right situation.
And he has a history of spending money. So
well, that's debatable because remember when he tried to cut all the salaries of all those Sixers employees, dude? I don't know about. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know, but I mean, he is willing to go over the luxury tax in Philly. I will say that, but he's also tried to cut corners here too in the past. So,
and he's also in the process of maybe getting a new stadium for his Sixers franchise. So.
Okay, let's not get into basketball because I don't like that. I don't like where he wants to put it, but that's not either here nor there. So I'm glad that we all like him. Now, Magic Johnson and Harris hinted that obviously not this season. They're not going to change the name this season, but maybe down the line, maybe as soon as next season, a name change could be coming. So should they change the name? And if so, what should it be?
I like Commanders. I've gotten used to it.
I think it's
Go ahead, Earl.
Commanders is fine. I've heard some people say Commodores. I've heard people say Tomahawks. Is very interesting what they think.
I think that's a little bit too close to the nose still.
Yep. I think Red Wolves would be nice.
I agree.
That was some people that was voting on that being the name, but they chose Commanders, where I think Commanders gives it a fresh feel to Washington as a whole. But if they're looking to change it to something different, I would go with Red Wolves.
So I am one of those people that definitely voted for Red Wolves. I think they're indigenous to the area, one. like the Maryland, Pennsylvania, Delaware area, like they're all in Virginia area. Red Wolves are actually endangered, believe it or not. It plays off the R, with the Redskins too in that type of way. So I kind of like that iteration. And it gives it a little bit more backbone. Like Commanders doesn't really give it a backbone, but Red Wolves, it gives it a little bit of backbone. Now the problem that the franchise said, the reason why is that they didn't want to go through all the red tape of any type of copyright issues, which I don't think this new ownership is going to worry about as much. Like I think they'll get through the copyright issues if the fans want it, because Josh Harris and Magic Johnson are known for giving the fans what they want. So I think that if they do, I think going to the Red Wolves would be the right move, because the majority of the fans wanted it, and it gives it a little bit more bite to it. And I mean, heck, you can still keep the same logo if you want, as with the W. I mean, you don't have to change the logo all that much if you don't want to. You don't have to make the logo like a wolf, but
I mean, it would be legit. I actually did a design for it as like a concept thing to throw a pitch out for him, because it was a lot of entries. So
yeah,
the wolf design.
Anything's possible. I mean, look, we'll definitely see. But I'm open to a name change. But if not, I mean, like Commanders has kind of grown on me, and I've bought enough Commander swag that I would be kind of disappointed if they changed the name too, because then I would have to buy more swag. You know what I mean?
Hey, there's some people still have their football team.
Oh, I still have a Redskins shirt in my drawer at somewhere. I haven't really worn it out, but I still got one, and I got a football team one in my closet. But it's the reason why it's in the closet is because I got fat and I can't wear it anymore. No. Okay. So moving on from that. Now there was a news thing that leaked recently, and I know you guys follow more than just the NFC East, but Tennessee has Ryan Tannehill right now. Last year they drafted Malik Willis in the 3rd round. And then this year they drafted what's his name? What was the kid's name from Kentucky in the 2nd round?
Will Levis.
And from the words of the Tennessee Titans' own personal reporter for the team, it doesn't seem like Malik Willis's spot on the roster is guaranteed. Like, they could waive him. And if he becomes available, should the Commanders consider adding him to the roster as their 3rd quarterback?
I think it would be a good fit. Especially it would give Sam Howell quarterback competition for that true number 1 quarterback spot. Malik Willis is a good quarterback. I think just in the system that he was in Tennessee, it just didn't work out. But giving him a fresh start, and I think Washington, with them trying to look for their QB1, would definitely give it a nice quarterback competition with Sam Howell.
Yeah, I agree with Earl. I think the competition would be great, especially with Jacoby Brissett in there. That would be awesome, especially with the experience that those two guys have. I mean, Malik's a little younger, but with the experience that Jacoby has, that Sam can kind of learn from those two, I think it would definitely be good to add Malik Willis to that room.
I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, if you can add another talent to the quarterback room, and if you're not 100% sure Sam Howell is the guy, why not add another arm to the room? I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Earl.
I was just gonna say, it would be a fun competition.
Yeah, no, look, the way I see it is Howell hasn't proven himself. As much as I like to hype him up, he still hasn't proven himself yet. Until he does, it's never, a bad idea to have another one. And the way you can look at it is like this: if you have Willis going into the season, if Howell proves himself, great. You have a long-term backup that can develop properly and not rush to develop like he was in Tennessee. If Howell's not the answer, then you can see if Willis is the guy. Because honestly, and Earl can probably attest to this, because I remember last draft, I was calling him like, why aren't the Commanders taking him with the 18th pick? We need him. But, that clearly did not happen. So, I'm okay. I would be more than fine. And I actually wrote an article about how Willis should be on the Commanders' radar. So, if you want to check that out, NFL Spin Zone, just saying. That being said, what do you think is the biggest headline for the Commanders entering this training camp ahead?
New ownership, young roster. I think the biggest headline that's going to come out of that is how all of those guys develop. I love Dotson and McLaurin. I'm very much looking forward to see what they do this year, as long as it's not against the Giants. I'm definitely looking forward to their development. And I think also, your QB1 competition you got going on there, I think that'll wind up being a big headline as well.
Yeah, I think quarterback. I mean, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't really have anything. So, seeing how Sam Howell progresses during training camp is going to be big for you guys. And I think it's going to be a situation that hangs over the team all season. But Chase Young, if they
I like that one.
That's a good one.
I mean, he's too talented to not at least get an offer. So I don't know what's going on there. Maybe they just really think Sweat is the guy where they don't really need. Maybe they think he's a little overrated. Chase Young's overrated. I don't know. From my perspective, I think it's a really talented end. So we'll see what happens there.
I don't think it would be under overhyping Chase Young. It's just he really hasn't had a chance of a full season to show his full potential, and I think
it's been health. It's been health with him.
Yeah, that's true.
It's been health. So they're banking on him trying to be able to play a full season, and if they see that he's that dog that he say he is, they got to see how he does this coming season and playing a 17, 18 game season, and then that'll determine if he gets that contract.
Yeah, I think his play will deter. Like if he plays balls out, he's going to get it from us. That's not even a thing. Like they'll franchise tag him until they can come up with a solid deal. But yeah, those are some really good ones. But the one that's sticking out of my head is a make or break season for Ron Rivera. New ownership.
I get that.
And Maurice knows for a fact, this new ownership is not afraid to change head coaches because they did it in Philly with Doug Collins, who was like a Philly legend. Am I wrong, Maurice?
You're absolutely right. So, yeah.
Yeah, I would say Ron Rivera. I mean, look, he's a player's coach. He's really likable, good culture guy, good defensive guy, has a really good defensive coordinator in Jack Del Rio. But, if it doesn't work out, you have Eric Bieniemy literally like chomping at the bit. I think Ron Rivera, if he can get the team going out on the, starting out hot, then I think he'll, get to the playoffs. I think he'll be fine. But if they start out slow, and training camp doesn't go well, then, maybe you see a change early on in the season. I wouldn't put it past this new ownership.
I think he'll get enough grace that he won't be, let go during the season.
It depends on how bad it is, dude. We'll have to see.
Positive, Lucas. Be positive.
I see about 8 games.
I mean, look, with Dan Snyder as your, I'll say this: with Dan Snyder as my team's owner for the last like almost 20 years, it's been hard to be positive, my man. It's been hard. So, on that note, let's go ahead and switch over to Mal now, which I know we got a lot of stuff to talk about there.
Yeah, so let's talk about the Giants and the one big thing that happened recently, and that's Saquon Barkley. So my first question for you guys, because I'm interested to hear what you have to say, I'll start by saying I'm a little nervous.
You should be.
But I'm trying, to keep it positive and hope for the best there. But do you guys think that Saquon's going to hold out, or do you think he's going to play this season?
He's going to play this season. There's too much money on the line to just hold out for a whole season. I heard reports that, he could hold out for a season. I don't see that happening. He might be disgruntled, but that's a trend that's happening a lot in the NFL these days when it comes to the running back position. But when week one comes, I foresee Saquon Barkley being on the field.
I'm going to be honest. I think he holds in. For those not familiar with that term, that means he shows up, does training camp, does everything. But then when the game comes around, he says, "Oh, my back hurts," and doesn't play the game.
So
I
low.
think that
would make
that's
some sense, especially with what they were talking about in their Zoom call this weekend.
Yeah. Look, I mean, and he might not be the only NFL running back doing that either. I mean, look, a lot of people might be very disappointed in fantasy football week one coming up. I'm just going to say that. Which, by the way, we would need more people to do fantasy football. Just the four of us would make that really weird. Anyway, sorry, I got off track there. No, but I think a hold in, and not just with him, but all NFL running backs, which, I mean, we'll talk about more here in a minute. I think he'll hold in. I think he'll show up because he's not going to get that $11 million if he doesn't show up. I think he's going to take the money, but I think he's going to hold it. Because obviously we've seen it with Le'Veon Bell and other running backs who?
I was about to bring up Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah. Who held out and then, was never the same since. Couldn't. Mm-mm. So I would say that he's going to hold in.
I agree with you, Lucas, on that. He'll hold in. It'd be just kind of odd to see him hold out, especially with so much talent he has, so much of what he's been doing in his training. I've been seeing his workouts, and this man's determined. And he's going to show them that, look, I should have got the big bucks. And if he plays, I think he's going to have one of his best seasons ever.
Yeah, I agree with you, Earl. I think he's also going to hold in.
I mean, I just can't see any way he doesn't play. And I don't think that the organization will want him to hold out. I think they will do something to try to, besides giving him his money, they'll do something to try to get him to play. Because without Saquon, it's going to be uphill for the Giants.
Yeah, and this is just one thing I want to say, and I know I kind of said it before. Daniel Jones doesn't get that payday without Saquon. I think they should have taken care of Saquon first and then dealt with Daniel Jones. I think that I know what the market says about running backs, but I think they messed up there majorly.
Well, I kind of understand what they did because tagging Jones was going to have a significantly higher cap hit this season than Saquon was. So I get what they did there and with the way that the market is. I don't disagree with it. I'm glad that we locked Daniel Jones down because his contract would have just really strapped us this season on the tag. So I do understand why they did, but I do think that Saquon will, like you said, Lucas, hold in. I don't think he'll be there tomorrow for training camp. I don't think he'll be at training camp at all, to be honest with you. I do think he'll come and he'll show up week one and he'll play. For how many weeks before anything goes down, I don't know. But I do think we'll at least see him on the field at some point this season. Which actually brings me into the next question that I have for you guys. We actually just the other day signed James Robinson, veteran running back, which was weird timing considering all of that stuff with Saquon went down. Do you guys think that changes anything for the Giants?
I think. Sorry, go ahead, Earl.
Contingency plan in case Saquon holds out. I kind of got a feel of it with when Zeke held out on his deal and Dallas drafted Tony Pollard as a contingency plan in case Zeke didn't play. In this regard, I think James Robinson is that security. He's that security blanket just in case if Saquon doesn't play. But I think the main goal for the Giants is to sign Saquon and then probably have a 2 running back tandem with him and James Robinson.
They can't. The problem is they can't sign him anymore. He has to come in on the franchise tag this year. They can't, and I don't think he does. I don't know. I just look. I like James Robinson. He's a solid running back. But this is not a contingency plan. This is the plan moving forward because I think they fully suspect that Saquon's not going to play one way or another. I think they're expecting him not to play. So
all season or to start the season?
That is a good question. I certainly think he sits out week one. because I think he wants to show them what life would be like without him, which I think we all agree would be pretty bad. So I think it's going to be at least week 1, and maybe it might take longer. Who knows?
I think it'll be week 3. They're gonna go through 2 games, see how it is without Saquon. Then they might pull what Dallas did with Emmett back during the Super Bowl time. He sat out 2 games and got paid around week 3, and then turned it around.
But they can't pay him, right? They can't.
Well,
they can't offer him a contract now, right?
I'm just saying, with them talking to him and see if they can get a contract done into next season, but they just gotta persuade him and be like, "Hey, man, play under the tag, some way, somehow." Like, you gotta figure it out because he's one of your focal points of the offense. If you don't have that focal point, that changes the offense all the way around. So you just gotta get him on the field, give him some assurance that he's gonna be on this team moving forward. It's just plain and simple. Like, Saquon, he's a hell of a back. Like, you really can't have a star running back like that not play for your team, even though he's on the team. So they just gotta do right by him.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Maurice. No, it's okay. I was just agreeing.
I just wanted to finish my statement by saying that I think they franchise tagged him for $10 million. I don't think anyone would just not play and just let that $10 million sit there. I don't know how it works per game. If he misses 1 game or 2 games, I don't know how that works, but it's a $10 million franchise tag. If he sits out, it's probably going to be for the season, but I don't see that happening.
Same.
Yeah, I don't see him sitting out for the season either. Like Earl said, it might be a few games, and of course those 2 games would suck, and I don't know really what our production would look like. But I'll get into that a little bit later if he wasn't around, if we had to deal with it. But do you guys think that running backs are treated fairly? And if like you don't, how would we fix it?
I don't think they're treated right with how much value they are to a team, especially with the yards that they go after and how much they throw their body on the line, from pass blocking, running through tackles. That adds up. That's a lot of wear on the tires. And for them to not have that pay of just showing like, hey, man, you gave it everything you had out on the field, and then you don't get paid or show love of it, it just kind of just throws running backs to the waistband, where it's like you wear out their tires, then you go out and get a new running back and do the same thing.
Yeah, I was just going to say, because usually they do, like, they'll have them play for 2 or 3 years and they'll draft another running back, and it's just a cycle.
So, yeah, me and Earl actually talked about this a little bit the other night when we were talking on the phone. And I was listening to ESPN. It gave me a few ideas here. First off, the idea that I got from ESPN, you can't franchise. I think they should get rid of the franchise tag for running backs, or at least the back-to-back franchise tag for running backs. I think you got to get rid of that.
I agree with that.
I think, honestly, I don't even like the franchise tag in the NFL in general. Like, they're the only major sport that has the franchise tag. MLB doesn't have it. The NBA certainly doesn't have it. They do have restricted free agency, which is a little different, but which I honestly think would work fine in the NFL. But we'll see. But I don't like the franchise tag, and I especially don't like it for running backs, especially the back-to-back franchise tag. Get rid of the franchise tag altogether for running backs, or just the back-to-back one. And, if you don't want to do that, another option is raise the rookie scale for running backs. If you want a running back so bad in the first round, cool. You got to pay $15 million a year for them. Second rounders get $10 million a year. Third rounders get $5 million, and then you decrease from there. But like, if you want a high value running back, you're gonna have to pay them early in their career what they're worth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, besides the points that you made, Lucas, the only other thing that I could think of would be just adjusting the franchise tag, having the NFLPA negotiate with the NFL for a higher tag for running backs. That's the only other option I can think of on top of that.
Well, I mean, the problem with the tag is the problem isn't the money for the tag. I think the franchise tag, from what I understand, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's based off the average salary for the position. So that's why in every other position, the salary tag, has gone up each year except for running backs. That's gone down. And so with that in mind, I don't think you can adjust the franchise tag price for that. And the problem is that these running backs, yeah, they love the 1 year pay, but at the same time they want, long-term security more than just 1 year. So that I think that's the main problem here, is that these guys are the franchise tag basically only makes the team, really responsible for them for 2 years. And then we saw with like Zeke now and Dalvin Cook, they're in their mid to late 20s and they can't get a job right now. I actually no, hold up. Did Dalvin get a job? Did Dalvin sign somewhere?
Not yet.
No.
Okay. Oh no, I
Yeah.
was thinking of Hopkins.
No.
I was thinking of DeAndre Hopkins. Sorry. Yeah, no. So like, and he's not the only one. There's been other, running backs that have been released, and I can't remember off the top of my head who they are, but like they're quality running backs that lost a job. Kareem Hunt, he's not signed anywhere yet, and he was like 1-2 punch in Cleveland, but now they're just like, and yes, I had him on my fantasy team. He was a solid running back. Like he's not a bad, and any type of decline in production now in a running back is just like, nope, they're no good. We can't keep them.
I,
It drives me nuts.
it's the I'll say this. It's more of a systemic problem with the NFL and running backs. And you have to take into account the running back. In this generation of football, the running back is probably the most dangerous position when you take into account how much they focus on concussions nowadays.
Yeah.
And just the wear and tear of the position itself. There's a reason why most teams have 2, maybe 3 running backs. They need that rotation. There's so much wear that these running backs take, and for the average running back, you only get one big contract, and that's if you're really an all-pro, top 5 talented running back. You get one big contract, and that's it. It's not like other positions where you can play 10, 12 years. A lot of these running backs are gone before they're 30.
I was about to say, like DeMarco. It reminds me of DeMarco Murray. Like he was for the Cowboys. I mean, y'all remember how good he was, and then he couldn't. It's like he could barely get a job anymore.
Don't remind me of that one. Yeah, I mean, he had a year. He had a great season with the Cowboys. Eagles signed him, and then he did nothing the rest of his career. But anyway, yeah, it's a major problem with the running backs. Obviously, general managers know this. We as fans know this. Once a player hits 27, 28, 29, it's kind of downhill unless you're like a rare breed, like an Adrian Peterson or somebody like that.
I was actually thinking Frank Gore. Yeah, Frank Gore. Yeah.
Yeah, Frank Gore. Yeah, he's been around a while. So yeah, go ahead.
I'm good.
But yeah, no.
Mallory, go ahead.
Yeah, no worries. So I was actually going to say, to finish that point up, going back to the James Robinson conversation, that's why I'm kind of glad that we signed him, regardless if Saquon sits out or not. Mainly because we ran Saquon into the ground last year, and I would love to have that second back to kind of take some touches away from him. But one last question I have for you guys before we wrap up the Giants. I think I know your answers for the most part, but if Barkley doesn't play, do you think that the Giants can still be successful?
No.
That was blunt.
No.
I'm honest. I'm honest.
No,
I'm sorry.
that's fine. No, it's
what
all right.
Do you think, Mallory? What do you think? Do you guys think you can win games without Saquon?
I will say this. Will it be difficult? Absolutely. He's the focal point of our offense. Great locker room guy. Definitely will miss him if he's not around. We'll only be able to be successful if Daniel Jones throws the ball more and relies more on his receivers. That's the only possible way.
But Mal, is that the best use of Daniel Jones though? Is he capable of doing that at a high volume? I don't think so.
I mean, I do. I do.
I'm glad that you do, but I disagree.
Yeah, no, and that's okay. I mean, you're allowed to disagree, but I do think he does. I think that with the speed that we added, Dable would have to really, and Kafka would really have to kind of reconstruct that offensive scheme there, make it more pass heavy and not as much run heavy. But I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens with Saquon at week 1 of the season, because we're not going to get any answers until then. But that would be the only way that I could see us actually winning games, is if we kind of shifted that focus there.
That's fair. Earl, you're up next, dude.
All righty. I know the news y'all have heard is Zach Martin is thinking of not reporting to training camp due in search of a new deal to renegotiate his deal. It was a quiet off season after the draft. Didn't hear much from it. Then about a couple days, I get notification that Zach Martin is thinking of holding out during training camp until he gets a new reconstructed deal. So I think Zach Martin had talked about this earlier during the offseason. I think ESPN, I'm in my suspicions of it, that they decided to leak this right before training camp to steer a story. My question to y'all is, with Zach Martin, Dallas left for Oxnard at noon today, and Zach Martin was not on the plane. So the question is, do you think he will hold out, or will he get paid by the time of week 1 of the season or during training camp?
I don't think Jerry Jones. Look, I remember when Zach Martin got drafted, and correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't like the buzz around, are they going to draft Zach Martin, or are they going to draft Johnny Manziel? And they chose Zach Martin wisely.
That was smart on their part.
That was what?
That was smart on their part.
That was smart, but you remember the draft. I remember you remember the draft because we were talking during that draft.
Oh,
and
yeah, I remember.
And Jerry Jones has always been logical when it comes to Zach Martin. So I think that they will renegotiate his deal. He might miss the beginning of training camp, but I don't think he's going to hold out the whole time. I think that we'll get a deal done really quick.
Yeah, Earl, I think he's going to get paid. Also, aren't they fined per day if they don't report to training camp?
If the team chooses to.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. And
But no, I do think he'll be paid.
What do you think, Maurice?
I think he's going to get paid. Jerry Jones will spend the money when he needs to, and this is a case where I think he needs to. He's very crucial to your offensive line. You've had some loss there, so I would say he will show up. He will get paid. Then he will show up and play.
I think he's gonna get paid. I think it's gonna be in the middle of training camp, if not maybe the start of preseason. Zach Martin is a big focal point of this offensive line, and with them starting a new offensive scheme, they need him up there. And we've already got an injury with Terrence Steele, and he's looking to come back. He's not trying to be on the unable to perform list, so he's going to try to go out there. And Zach Martin is one of the best guards in the NFL. Like, I really think when he realized he got a 99 overall on Madden, he was like, yo, I need some money. Like,
the timing was suspicious. I'll say that.
It was very suspicious, right? So
yeah, it was.
I'm just like, yeah, he's one of the best offensive linemen. He's one of the best linemen that Dallas have had over the last few years. And no doubt in my mind, I know the front office is like, yo, we got to get this deal reconstructed, get him some more money. We need him on this team because I believe this team this year is going to do some great things. And without Zach Martin, that kind of hinders what goal they have set. Because when I tell you that they were quiet this whole offseason, like it was the quietest I've ever seen it. And then this news hits, and I'm just like, dang, it was good while it lasted. But,
Earl, I got a quick question for you.
What's up?
Is this your year?
I believe so. just with the changes of the coaching, I think they take that next step in which I believe it is their year. And I don't normally say that, but after I realized that they made changes at offensive play calling and then allowing Mike McCarthy to do his thing finally, and then having Dan Quinn do his thing, I think they can put this together. Like I really have strong beliefs of this upcoming season. Y'all may not think that, but I believe this is their year.
Yeah, look, I think that's fair. I don't know if it's their year because I don't know. We'll see, but it's going to be an interesting year for the Cowboys for sure.
I do have another question though. What do y'all think happens with running back Ezekiel Elliott? Where do you think he will go? And is there a possibility he could rejoin Dallas depending on the preseason?
I think the only way that Zeke joins Dallas back is if something crazy happens. Whether Pollard can't come back or anything like that, I don't think they'll take Zeke back. I think that if Dalvin Cook is off the market by some weird feeling I have, I think Zeke will be a Jet.
Ooh,
Well,
you're right.
You say that, and as we're recording this, I just got a notification that Dalvin Cook signed with the Bills.
Did he really?
No way, really?
Did he really?
Yeah.
Yep, I knew it. Yep,
Wow.
I just got
Okay,
it too.
Zeke's a Jet.
That yeah, Zeke seems like a Jet. Or let me throw a little bit of chaos in here. We used to have a star running back in Alfred Morris. He played for us about 5 seasons, I want to say 5 or 6 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then where he signed afterwards? The Dallas Cowboys. And I say, why not bring in Zeke? Why not bring in Zeke to our stable?
To a division rival?
I mean, look.
He signed with Dallas in, I think, 2021 season.
Yeah. No, you guys stole our running back. It's time for us to do the same. Let the rivalry live on. Yes, I'm taking your running back, Earl.
I love Zeke, and in my mind that he thinks I don't think he would go to Washington.
No, he's probably not. No, we actually have a really good plethora.
I think he would probably go to a team in the NFC. It probably wouldn't be Washington.
Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't go to the Giants. That was honestly, I thought that was.
I think when it's all said and done, I think he's going to ring Chase. He's going to go to a contending team, Super Bowl contending.
Yeah, he wasn't coming to the Giants, at least not now.
Well, okay, let's think about it. What could be a good contender for him. I don't think the Jets are a real contender.
Neither do I.
I think the AFC is too stacked. I mean, I can think of 4 or 5 teams ahead of them. Really. They're just too young outside of Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion. They're not. They don't have any proven guys besides him. So I don't think the Jets are it. What about Miami? Could he fit in Miami?
I could see that.
It could probably fit Miami, but they're kind of built on like speed.
Well, maybe having a power back is good as like a change of pace.
Well, who's their running back right now? I'm not positive who their running back is.
Yeah, I don't
think they really have one.
They have
not. Well, they have one, but I don't really know who it is.
Yeah. Or here's another one. What if he goes to Kansas City?
Yeah, I was thinking
good with Pacheco though.
Yeah, Pacheco.
Yeah, but he could be a backup.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in his career, I could definitely see him being more so a backup. I could see him on the Dolphins. I mean, their starter right now is Raheem Mostert.
Oh yeah, he was a backup back in where was it? San Francisco. Yeah, he could. Zeke could totally take that job from him. Or maybe what about Seattle? What about Seattle?
Seattle's a good one.
Yeah, they got Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, I think this is 3rd year. I want to say his 3rd or 2nd or 3rd year. He looked good, so I don't know. Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's going to either be like a ring chase situation or just, somebody loses a running back, somebody gets injured, and then they need to replace him. because that's kind of what happened right now with the Bills. Naeem Hayes got injured; he was out for the season, and they went and got Dalvin Cook. That's a great.
Hold up! Didn't they get Don't they still have Singletary and Moss? Zach Moss?
Singletary is not there anymore.
Really? Where did Singletary go?
I'm not sure. I don't think they re-signed him.
Did he lose a job? Did he lose his job? Dang.
Yeah.
He's with the Texans, I believe.
Oh, is he? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I like Singletary.
The Bills.
Always thought he was underutilized there.
Yeah, the Bills made this move because Nyheim Hines is out for the season, and they definitely needed that running back security.
I don't think Singletary's on the Bills either. So,
what happened to Zach Moss? I thought he had like really big upside like a few years ago.
As of right now, the Buffalo Bills running back one is James Cook.
Yep.
James Cook. Who's James Cook?
Brother.
Man, the running backs change so often now. You can't even keep track of everybody, man.
It goes back to our conversation.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah, so we can move on.
Yeah, Maurice, go ahead. Take it with your Eagles, even though there's not really much to talk about. No offense.
There's not really much to talk about for the Eagles right now. I just would like to say it's been a lot of disrespect when it comes to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Ooh. Are you going to preach to us? Are you going to preach to us tonight, Pastor Maurice?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay.
There's been a lot of Eagles preaching on social media and Twitter and all that, but I just want to say there's been a lot of disrespect with the Eagles, specifically Jalen Hurts. He's not been given the credit that he's been deserved over the last season. A lot of people think it's a fluke. People say they have too much talent and it's easy for Jalen Hurts, and he hasn't really had to do anything special to be a great quarterback. Listen, all we need to know is Jalen Hurts has taken his team to a Super Bowl his second season, and from what everyone says, he's only going to improve. Now, do I think he's going to be the greatest quarterback in the league next year? Maybe not, but I think he's going to have an MVP caliber season. And I mean, based off what we know, Eagles are going to be really good contenders to go back to the Super Bowl. I just want people to give Jalen Hurts I think he deserves. But if you want to wait and see how he plays this season, we can see. We can wait and see. What do you guys think?
So I actually wrote an article 2 weeks ago ranking each starting quarterback. And I'm going to just tell you guys we're starting at. Do you guys want me to start at 32 or 1 and then work my way back?
Go to 1 to 10.
Well, we have to include all of our quarterbacks, so it's going to be all.
Okay, Daniel Jones ain't in number 10 in top 10.
Let me. So, do you guys want me to start with the worst or the best?
Start with the worst.
Yeah, okay, the worst it is. So, and I bring up this article because it's going to answer how much I respect Jalen Hurts. Okay, so, all right, here we go. So 32, I got Desmond Ridder. 31, Kenny Pickett. 30, Baker Mayfield. 29, Jordan Love. 28, Bryce Young. 27, Sam Howell. 26, Anthony Richardson. 25, Mac Jones. 24, Deshaun Watson. 23, Ryan Tannehill. 22, CJ Stroud. 21, Brock Purdy. 20, Daniel Jones. 19, Kirk Cousins. 18, Jimmy Garoppolo. 17, Kyler Murray. 16, Jared Goff. 15, Russell Wilson. 14, Derek Carr. 13, Matthew Stafford. 12, Tua Tagovailoa. 11, Geno Smith. 10, Justin Fields. 9, Dak Prescott. 8, Trevor Lawrence. 7th, Aaron Rodgers. 6, Justin Herbert. 5, Jalen Hurts. 4, Lamar Jackson. 3, Joe Burrow. 2, Josh Allen. 1, Patrick Mahomes. So, in order to let you know, Maurice, I respect Jalen Hurts greatly. I think he's a top 5 quarterback. So that's how I feel. I don't know how you guys feel about where I put your quarterbacks, but just know that I put my quarterback the lowest of our 4. So I'm not trying to be biased here.
Where was Josh Allen again?
Josh Allen was 2.
Boy, I might get on the soapbox here, but I'm trying not to. But a
Jalen
lot
Hurts
of
is
people,
5.
a lot of
Jalen
people
Hurts
give
is 5. He's
a lot of
5.
no. I'm just saying a lot of people give Josh Allen a lot of credit, man. I'm just saying.
I mean, the
I'm
stats don't lie, dude.
I agree with you, Maurice. Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, he's high on everyone's list, but I'm cool with that. Second in MVP voting. We'll see what Jalen Hurts does this coming season.
I
I'm
think
just
he
not
could.
a fan of.
I think he has a chance to win the MVP. I don't know if he will, but he has a shot at it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really is relatable to another player, but I can get into that. But if he was healthy, he didn't miss those 3 games. I think he would have won MVP.
You think so? I don't know, man.
I
Patrick Mahomes threw
I
for
agree
over
with you
5,000.
with how
I
Jalen
don't
Hurts was
know.
playing before he got hurt. He was definitely in that MVP conversation,
I
and
don't know, man.
he didn't miss those games.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely would have got it. He definitely would have got it. It would have been close. It would have been a close vote, but I think he would have edged because Mahomes won it, right?
Yeah, Mahomes.
Yeah, I think he would have edged Mahomes because Jalen Hurts had somewhat of a better season, even though the yardage weren't as the same. But with how Jalen Hurts was propelling himself, yeah, he was in the MVP conversation, no doubt.
And the team performance as well. Because remember when he got injured, they lost like 3 games, so their record came down, and then Mahomes kind of ascended above him with their team getting hot at the end of the season. Well, we will see. We will see. I'll just keep it to that. We will see.
By the way, guys, just to let you know, Earl hates that I have Dak Prescott number 9.
That's too low.
Yes. Yeah,
Earl, tell him where you think Dak belongs.
I got him in top 5.
No, don't be a Cowboys fan, Earl. Use your logic here. Use your logic here.
See, whatever you could say is just out the other ear. I really believe Dak Prescott is a top 5 quarterback with what he was able to do over time of what he's done in the league.
Dude, he led the league in interceptions last year. No way.
With a busted thumb coming from recovery of surgery on
He shouldn't have rushed back so quickly. They were winning without him.
That's true.
See, you sound like Dan Orlovsky.
You know what?
God.
He has some really good, outfits. So I'll take it. If I was married, I would never make my wife ride coach if I had that type of money, though. I will say that.
He has big ears too.
Oh, okay. I see how it is.
If I told you that he gave Aaron Rodgers a pass after him getting close to the same.
We're not talking about Aaron Rodgers. We're talking about Dak Prescott. Don't change the subject, Earl.
What Orlovsky said, in which could represent the same thing with Dak, but he chose not to. He gave Aaron Rodgers a pass, even though they had the same statistical numbers, even though Dak missed games due to his thumb, and the same interceptions, with explaining some were tipped passes, some were his fault, but he put the blame on Dak on all those interceptions, even though Dak had tipped passes that were intercepted as well, hitting the receivers in the hands, popping out interceptions. He put all that blame on Dak Prescott, which was not right. Gave Aaron Rodgers a pass for it. Ridiculed Dak Prescott over that. The situation I have is that Dak Prescott, over his career span, has 24,943 yards.
We're not talking about his career. We're talking about this past season, Earl.
Okay, I can talk about this season. he had a 66.2 complete rate, 2860 of passing yards, 23 interceptions, 23 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. He had a 91.1 rating, even though missing four games. With what Dak Prescott had.
Wait a second. That was off of this season, Lucas?
Well, it's like going into next season based off of what they did this past season.
Oh,
Most projected.
Daniel Jones at 20?
Yeah. I said what I said.
Oh, okay.
I said
All
no.
All right.
You can come at you can come at me if you want. I'm just saying, like, I'd rather have Kirk Cousins than Daniel Jones.
That's fine. But you had Kyler Murray and Jimmy Garoppolo ahead of him off of last season.
Jimmy Garoppolo has been to 2 Super Bowls.
I thought it was off of last season.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for his injuries, he probably would have led them to another Super Bowl. But no.
But he was injured.
But, like I said, I'd rather have Jimmy Garoppolo than Daniel Jones. I'll be honest with you, Mal, and I say this as a friend. I think last season was a fluke for Daniel Jones. I don't think we're going to see it again. I don't think we're going to see it again. He's done it.
Lucas, prepare for the tweets.
By all means,
prepare for the tweets.
Come at me. But, like, in all seriousness, though.
Jones on it.
What happened, Earl?
Defend your quarterback.
Oh, I will. He will be back, and he'll be better than his 15 touchdown season. I guarantee you that. And it's going to be because Saquon won't be there the first few weeks. So he'll prove it.
Okay. So
he'll be better than 20 next season. So we'll circle back on this.
Okay. And look, Kyler Murray has a really good chance to drop. But his potential, on the other hand, he could easily be a top 10. That's why I have Kyler Murray ahead of him. But, like, Jimmy Garoppolo and Kirk Cousins are just better game managers than Daniel Jones. Like, just better. And Jared Goff went off last season. Now, I will say I did give Russell Wilson a little bit of grace based off of his legacy. But, like, yeah, Russell Wilson probably should be. And if we're going solely based off last season and not projecting into next season at all, then Russell Wilson would probably be, at the bottom of this list. But, like, I'm also giving him a little bit of break. But no, like I said, I think Daniel Jones has only had one good season, and it was last year. Out of what, 6 seasons? 5, 6 seasons? I don't see it now. 4 seasons, my bad. Still, I need more.
No, I hear you. I need more too, but we'll definitely circle back. And hopefully I'm not wrong. But if I am, I'll hold my L.
Okay.
Now, so I do want to say one thing for what Earl was saying about Dak Prescott. I think with Dak Prescott, it's not always about his talent or the statistics. It's about what he does in the big games and what he does when it comes to the postseason. That really determines what Dak Prescott's legacy will ultimately be. Because right now he's a great quarterback. I'm not going to argue.
I had him in the top 10. Like, it's not an insult to have him in the top 10.
Yeah, I mean, Dak Prescott is a really good quarterback. No one's taking that away from him. He has to prove it in the big games. He really does at this point in his career. That's all.
And I agree with you, Maurice, on that with him in the big game. Regular season, statistics, great. Postseason is going to show what he's capable of doing. And this season, even though he doesn't have Kellen Moore anymore, he's out of his comfort zone. And when Dak thrived, when he was out of his comfort zone, it was when the most pressure was on him. And this season, he's going to have that pressure, and I think he's going to be prepared for this pressure, in which he's going to ball out this season.
And if not, you guys have Will Grier on the bench, who I would love to see play. No, I'm joking.
I
don't think he's gonna beat out Cooper Rush.
No, he's probably not. But I do. You know how much I love Will Grier. We got way off topic. I apologize. By the way, guys, I'm the one that essentially crapped on my own quarterback. I put him 27th. Like
That's only because he's a rookie, and you don't. Well, he was a rookie, but that's because he's young and you don't really see much yet.
Yeah, he's improving.
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
put him 27th. Like I'm trying. I feel like I was pretty objective in this rankings. I don't think I was unobjective in these rankings.
Well, I got one more question. Where did you put Brock Purdy?
I put him
Yeah.
21. Put him 21.
Right behind Daniel Jones. Okay. All right.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Brock
I
Purdy
mean,
didn't.
I hate to throw smoke on any fires, but according to all 49ers fans, if Brock Purdy was healthy, they would have won the Super Bowl. But we can continue.
Oh no.
I,
Reed,
I don't
even
know
if
about
they
all
had
that.
Purdy, I don't think they would have beat the Eagles.
And here's the other thing, guys. Here's the other thing. Let's think about this for a second. Are we sure Brock Purdy's going to keep that job if Trey Lance looks good in training camp?
Nah, Purdy
Yeah,
is
QB
the
battle.
starter. He's the starter.
I
Yeah,
mean,
Purdy's definitely the starter.
yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. You don't draft a guy that high and then just sit him behind like a 6th round pick. That's a
Lance
big like.
gotta be.
I know,
Lance-
and they just signed
healthy.
Sam Darnold too, so they're crowded QB room over there.
Well, apparently they're worried about QB health, which is fair. I get that, but still, whew.
They desperately
Anyway.
need that third quarterback on their roster. That's what they need.
By the way, I honestly felt like I put Jared Goff too low because he had a phenomenal season last year.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did.
I was gonna say I'm not mad about Goff being above Daniel Jones. I think Goff really did a really great job last year.
Yeah, like I said, this was a hard list to make. I had to go based off stats, eye test, and like I asked myself with a couple of these guys, who would I rather have take my team in a postseason game? That's kind of where I was at. But
Yeah.
all right, so let me go ahead. So now that we got done with the quarterback talk, which that was an unexpected tangent, but I thought it was a fun one, even though I think Mal and Earl hate me now. That's okay.
No, I don't hate you. It's okay.
No hate, man. Just
No
real
hate.
rivalry. That's all.
We are going to go to our poll question, which I know is going to, stir some feelings in some people. So we posted a poll on both Facebook, and you guys can follow us now on Facebook for 13 Rings Podcast, and on Twitter, 13_Rings Podcast, where we asked who had the best wide receiver duo of the 4 NFC East teams. So let me go to the Twitter one first. We're going to go to Twitter first. I know in the agenda it said otherwise, but we're going to do Twitter first. And, let me just say this. Remember, our Twitter fans are primarily what friends? They are Giants fans.
Giants fans.
So, that being said, the Eagles still won out. They got 52% for Brown and Smith. Congratulations, Maurice. The Giants came in second, which makes absolutely no sense to me with Slayton and Hyatt.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Cowboys came in third with Lamb and Cooks. And then I feel disrespected here. I do. Because I don't think McLaurin and Dotson are last. I don't think so. Like, I think that's just wrong. I think McLaurin is arguably the third best wide receiver on this list. So
I'm trying to figure out the situation with McLaurin and Dotson. I think the reason for it, Dotson has a little more that he needs to prove.
I know, but the flashes last year, man, the flashes were just so good. And I mean, even if you don't want to put Dotson in and you put Curtis Samuel's still a really good wide receiver.
He's a gadget.
Yeah.
He's a gadget guy, which, hey, look, nothing wrong with being a gadget guy. That
Taking from it.
That being said, Facebook was a lot kinder to my friends. Let me just say that. Facebook was a lot kinder to my team.
They weren't as kind to me.
No, they weren't. Nobody voted for the Giants on the Facebook page.
That's how I expected it with both.
I'm pretty sure only Earl voted for the Cowboys on the Eagles team on this poll because they only got 3% of the vote. The Eagles got second place with 30%, and the Commanders got an overwhelming 67%. Now, I don't think any of us agree with the results of these polls. Is that fair? Or maybe not most of us.
I
didn't pay the poll any mind.
Yeah, I mean, I expected mine, not the second place, but I expected it to go the way it did on Facebook.
So let's talk about it here.
Well,
Let's start at fourth place. Who has the worst wide receiver duo in the NFC East?
I'm going to take this one because I know it's the Giants.
Yeah, it's you guys.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's all right. It's all right. We definitely, it's our area that we've needed work on for years now. Ever since we lost OBJ, we just haven't had that number one wide receiver. Where I would argue with you, I don't think Hyatt is number two. I think Hodgins is going to wind up being number two, either him or Campbell. Yeah, I think either him or Campbell.
What about Shepard?
Shepard, I'm still trying to see if he's going to start the season on PUP or not. He looks good, but I think that's why we wound up signing Cole Beasley, because of all of our slot receivers that are most likely going to start on PUP.
Gotcha.
But I do think we take the cake for the worst in the division in comparison, unfortunately. Do I see a great upside for Slayton and Hodgins? Absolutely. But it doesn't really shine the shoes of what you guys all have going on.
That's fair. I agree.
In fairness with the Giants receivers, I know most of them had injuries. Now, I think if they weren't hurt and had the production that they needed, I think that they would have gotten more votes and more recognition with it.
So, okay, Mal, I'm going to change this up a little bit because you talking about this, you gave me an idea. Mal, because you believe your team is last, how would you rank them 1 through 4?
So for me, it's the Eagles first.
Okay.
AJ Brown he's just incredible. And Devonta Smith, with the production that he had and being so young, he impresses me very much. And now number 2 and 3 is very close for me. I'm going to give Washington the advantage.
That's right.
Because
wow.
I am, only because of they're younger. Not by CD.
I knew you were my favorite.
But with Cooks, I haven't seen him yet with them, even though he is a great receiver. But I will give Washington the benefit of the doubt there. Then it goes Cowboys for me, and then the Giants, of course.
Okay, Earl, you go ahead. Tell us your order, starting at number 1.
Okay. I believe 1, it would be CD and Brandon Cooks.
Oh, come on.
Come on, Earl. Don't be that Cowboys fan. Come on now.
Look, I am speaking on my truths in this. Like, I'm not even BSing on this. I really believe that this tandem that they have with CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks, they're already writing off Brandon Cooks on his, let's see, 1, 2, 3, his fifth or so team. But in that regard, through most of those teams he was on, he was able to accumulate 6 1,000-yard seasons. And he really didn't have a really good quarterback except Brady. And now he gets the chance to be a part with Dak Prescott, being that number 2 receiver till Gallup gets healthy. And then you have CeeDee Lamb coming off his best season in his 3rd year, going into his 4th year. Each season his yards have went up. So CeeDee Lamb is going to continue to grow. And then Brandon Cooks is going to show that he's still that dude that can flat out take the top off the defense. I'm giving credit to AJ Brown and Devonta Smith because they're great receivers. But if I'm putting them together, I would rather have Dak Prescott throwing the ball to CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks compared to Jalen Hurts throwing them with Devonta Smith and AJ Brown. That's why my difference are from there. Both are great quarterbacks, but Dak Prescott could either run when he wants to, but he can pass the ball. Jalen Hurts is still growing. Jalen Hurts is still growing in that.
Well, so, you're kind of changing the question, Earl. But
yeah. I was about to say no. We're talking about just skill at the wide receiver position. Not who's throwing it to you.
Okay. I have CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks 1. I have AJ Brown, Devonta Smith 2. I have Terry McLaurin and Dotson at 3. Then I have the Giants receivers at 4.
Okay, Maurice, who you got? I think I know who your number 1 is, but let's hear the rest.
Yeah, it's going to be AJ Brown and Devonta Smith. And And I'll make a statement here. I think Devontae's going to have a better season than AJ Brown.
I think that's possible. I don't disagree with that.
Yes,
That's
Maurice.
totally possible.
That's my hot take for the year.
Yeah, I think Devontae Smith is going to have a breakout All-Pro season at running at the receiver position. I just think he's a better route runner. I think he has better hands. I mean, we've heard the stories of guys that just have a hard time defending him one-on-one. He just makes incredible catches almost on a weekly basis. Jalen's chemistry with AJ is so much better. He just threw it to him more last season. But this season coming up, I really do believe Devontae's going to have a really breakout season. Besides that, number 2, I actually have Lamb and Cooks.
Wow.
I have Lamb and Cooks. I just think CeeDee Lamb is the next best receiver out of all of the receivers on this list, on this poll.
Interesting.
I think he's the best receiver.
And
I think and Brandon Cooks does have a lot of talent. With him, it's about staying healthy. If he could stay healthy, that's a good duo. I'm not going to lie and say it's not. Number 3, McLaurin and Dotson, and 4, Slayton and Hyatt, or anyone else they put there. But and we're not including tight ends. Tight ends, I might have to slide the Giants up a little bit because I really like Waller. But
finally.
Waller's good, yeah, but we're not doing tight ends, Maurice.
Yeah, I know.
That's another day. Yeah. That's another poll, another day. Because I know my team would be last. I don't like Logan Thomas.
I was gonna say, Lucas, I don't even know who your tight end is. No disrespect.
It's Logan Thomas.
Logan Thomas.
Yeah, look, I was, like I said earlier in the podcast, Armani Rogers was gonna be that guy, but then he had to go tear his ACL and OTAs. Not his ACL, his Achilles. Sorry, my bad. But no, Maurice, I'm going to disagree with you. CeeDee Lamb is not the 3rd best wide receiver on that in this group. It is Terry McLaurin. CeeDee Lamb still has areas that he needs to improve upon. Terry McLaurin is scary Terry. He's an all-pro, and he is scary. And like the guy, look. Here's the other thing. Terry McLaurin's putting up these numbers with, which I think is fair to say, backup level quarterbacks up to this point. So keep that in mind.
I mean, he's got a point.
Yeah, he's doing all this stuff with backup level quarterbacks. All you guys have really solid quarterbacks. Well, the Eagles and the Cowboys have really solid.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just say from a skill level, I'll take CeeDee Lamb over McLaurin, but I mean, it's not that far apart. I just think when you play in Cooks as well, I think they have the second best duo.
I think McLaurin is an all-pro guy. He's easily in my opinion, the 3rd best wide receiver and arguably second best if you really want to put him up against the Eagles guys. But I think. And here's the thing, I think Dotson has the potential, granted he's only going into his 2nd season, but if Sam Howell can throw the ball like we expect he can, I think they're going to have 2,000-yard receivers this year, which has not happened in Washington in a very, 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 very long time.
And I think that can happen too, especially with what Eric Bieniemy can do. And Sam Howell, when he was in college in North Carolina, he had at least 2 to 3 receivers that he would pass to efficiently. One of them is De'Ami Brown.
Oh, yeah, he's on the team too. Yeah, him and Brown have been looking great in OTAs, by the way. And let's not forget about Curtis Samuel, who's a Swiss Army knife who can do a little bit of everything.
That's like 4 receiving.
I was about to say we have a really deep. We're really deep at the wide receiver position. Like the Eagles are top heavy. The Giants are rebuilding theirs. Cowboys are solid top 2, 3, but like I said, I'm not sure. Like I said, I just don't think CeeDee Lamb is better than Terry McLaurin. I will die on that hill.
Okay. We have a whole season to see.
Well, if it's any consolation, I would love to have either of them on my team.
I know you would. How about this? How about you trade us Saquon and we'll give you Dami Brown? How about that? Or Samuel, Samuel Curtis, Curtis Samuel.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Are you sure? Because obviously you guys don't want to pay him. I'm sure our new owner would.
I mean, listen, I would love to pay him. I wish I had that kind of money.
Yeah, me too. Anyway, on that note, guys, we have been recording for an hour and 21 minutes. It is time to wrap this thing up because I have to edit this thing tonight. So, on that note, for everybody that listened, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed our conversation. Remember to follow us on Facebook on 13 Rings and also follow us on Twitter, 13_rings. Remember to listen to us on Spotify. Hopefully, we will be on other streaming, audio networks soon. In the meantime, everybody have a good day, and we'll see you all next time.
Have a good one.
Have a good one, guys.